Hello, Kelly Bear here, and welcome to my final instalment of the Neopagan November challenge set by Brittany over at the Sunshine State Witch. Thank you so much for this, Brittany. It's been really fun. It's been really interesting. I've met discovered loads of really cool, new, interesting witches to chat to and follow. Yeah, it's been a really enjoyable experience. So thank you so much to you for that. I've literally just written these down quickly, the last 3 prompts, and I haven't really thought about them. So again, it's going to be a very sort of fly by the seat of my pants video. The first prompt is controversial, which I feel is quite similar to taboo, because taboo and controversial is maybe the same way of saying, it's different ways of saying this, a similar thing, but I'm sure I can muster up other things that are controversial. I don't know, but yeah, one of the things that comes to mind is that whole like positive vibes only new age, or sort of almost new age style of pagany, witchcrafty, hippie side of things, which seems to be popular again. I don't know, and the whole idea of like you know, you have to keep a positive mindset all the time, because if you don't, then you will manifest bad things in your life. Or the whole idea that you know, yeah, anything bad in your life is your own fault, in the sense that you know, you've manifested it through your mindset, which I just think is really awful and really ableist and really unrealistic. To try and be like, have a positive mental attitude 24/7 just feels like exhausting and incredibly unsustainable. But yeah, just like, it doesn't take into account people with mental health issues. Like I suffer with anxiety and depression, so if I'm depressed or anxious, am I manifesting bad things that come into my life because of that? Or is my depression and anxiety because I manifested that through thinking bad things, so then ultimately I become depressed? These are things I've been told by people kindly commenting below my videos in the past, and to that I say, get a fuck. Yeah, fuck off with that shit, miss me with that shit, whatever it is that the young'uns are saying today. Yeah, I think that is toxic. I think that it is a horrendous way to treat people, to literally comment on people's videos when they're being open about their chronic health issues, mental health issues, whatever it is, and to then comment and be like, oh well, you know, it's like part of your life path, your soul chose this, why don't you just go suck a bag of dicks? I mean, some people might enjoy a bag of dicks, whatever, you know what I mean. Like, it just really grinds my gears. It really does. Like, I've seen people say that, yeah, there's like famous people here in the UK that have mentioned to people that are wheelchair users that it's because who was it? There was a football guy, a guy to do with like soccer, for those of you in North America. Who was it? I can't remember who it was now for the life of me, but there was this guy who had the gall to say that somebody that it was in comment to someone who was a wheelchair user, and it was because it was his karma from previous lives. And I just cannot with that stuff. I just cannot. It makes me so angry. Sometimes bad stuff happens, and do you know what? If that fucking mindset was true, then the arsehole millionaires and billionaires that are like running things would be getting a lot more bad luck than they are. Like, good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. So life can just be shit, and I don't think you walking around going, you know, la love and light, and trying to keep a positive mental attitude is gonna change that. Do I mean you need to walk around being like a grumbly guts all the time? No, but feel your feels. Allow yourself to authentically feel what you're feeling. And I think there could be, I mean, it sounds really stressful trying to constantly cultivate a positive mental attitude. I can't even imagine what that must be like, because it just must be so unnatural, because you're having to shut off your natural responses to certain things. There are people who are more positive like just generally just have more positive mindset and are more glass half full people, and they're more glass half empty people. I'm an anxious brain, I'm a squirrel brain, I'm a worrier, I overthink things, but I don't think that to the extent where I can definitely think myself in a funk, and I can get into anxiety spirals, and I have tools to get myself out of them, and I can use magic for that, right? But I don't think I have chronic illnesses because I sometimes think negatively. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a balance there, because I do think your mindset can help with your magic and stuff like that, but then blaming people, that victim blaming for the bad things that go on in their life, for their whether they're thinking positively or not, is just really, really harmful. Wow, that became like a whole 5-minute ramble on the Love and Light Brigade. Anyway, I hope this is coming across. I'm articulating myself well, because I don't know. Anyway, you know what I mean. It's good to be positive, but it's not good to be positive all of the time. That's what I mean. There are people out there who genuinely are good vibes only, high vibration only. It's your own fault. And I just think those people need to, like I said, just feck off. The next prompt again is a tricky one. I don't know. Then it's I think ... I mean, that could be anything, couldn't it? Holy crap. Meow. I don't know. Maybe another controversial take. I don't know. I think that witchcraft being fashionable the last few years, and all of the shows and films and things, and it's having its moment again. I mean, I remember the witchcraft moment of the 90s. I was a teen in the 90s. I am that teen that was all about the craft and practical magic and all that jazz. So Charmed, that I'm of that era, and Buffy, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was part of the thing that drew me in finding out about witchcraft, right? And I got into the music, and I was listening to The Cure and Bauhaus and all this other stuff, and listening to some metal, and I started wearing black and blah blah blah, and it was part of a fashion thing, it was part of a media thing, it was part of the couple of people that I was introduced to at sixth form college as well. It was a whole moment, and it was having a fashionable moment, and there were loads of teens that were getting into it. Some of those teenagers are still witches. Some of those teenagers practice it for a while, maybe into their 20s, and then they let it go. And some of them practiced it for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days, and then dropped it like a hot brick. Hot brick? Hot stone? Hot rock? What is the saying? I don't know. Anyway. Who fucking cares? Who cares? It's this gatekeepy thing. It's the same with goth. I see people that are oh, well, just because you wear black doesn't mean you're a goth. You have to listen to, you have to know your London After Midnight, and your from your Alien Sex Fiend to your Susie Sue the Banshees to Bauhaus. If you don't listen to trad goth, then you're not really And I know it's a subculture that's came up around the music, but my god, that was over 40 years ago, and if a subculture doesn't adapt, it fucking dies, right? There's new forms of goth music, and goths listen to all sorts of music as well. I listen to pop, for Christ's sake, and synthwave, as well as all the old school shit. And I just and every time goth becomes fashionable, and people, there's elder goth going rah, 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 and it's do you know what? Some of those kids will get into the goth music. I was initially drawn to the fashion and the craft. And then I found the music because I was oh, this is goth and this is what people listen to, blah, blah, blah. So some of those people will get into the music and become lifelong goths and be in their 40s, and their mum will realise that it's not just a phase at this point. And some of them won't. And some of them will wear black and not listen to trad goth. But again, who fucking cares? If they call themselves goth, okay, whatever. And the same with witch. I'm using it as an analogy because there's crossover there, because I saw the craft and I was like, oh wow, witchcraft, and oh yeah, wearing black, and you know, and I did both, and I still do both. And I know people that are still doing that as well, and I know there's loads of us out there. So like, stop gatekeeping. That's what I think. Just stop gatekeeping. There is an issue with witch talk and like witch Instagram, where there's a lot of like misinformation and dangerous information. To me, that's a separate issue, and I think it's for us older, or not necessarily older, because there are younger people that I know that are really like hardcore witches that probably go harder than loads of people. So it's not an age thing. There are more practiced, experienced, long-term witches. It's up to us to be like, hang on, like, let's put the brakes on. You know, putting dissolvable, soluble crystals in our water, or let's not, like, you know what I mean? It's up to us to be like, instead of going, like, let's try and engage, and in a loving, open way, right? Like, let's be like, I see that you've done that, but just be careful, cause, you know, because they, you know, it's different now, because social media wasn't a thing when I was younger. Like, I didn't even have the internet in 1995, you know, I didn't even have a computer in 1995, you know what I mean? So it is very different with social media. It definitely is. But I do think that I've just realised I've just torn off my paper with the prompts on it and put it in the bin, and I've got a prompt left. Oh no, that's a different one. What have I done with it? I don't know, but I know what the last prompt is anyway. But yeah, I just think, yeah, gatekeeping sucks balls, and yeah, also, like, who cares? I don't know, I think I'm just too old for this shit. Like, I'm too old for the, like, I'm like, whatever, just whatever, because I've been there, right? I've been the fluffy bunny, I've been the baby bat, so I can see that side of things, because that was me, and people were dicks to me. There were elder goths who were dicks, and there were older witches who were dicks. Oh, you're just a fluffy bunny. Like, just, you know what? Well, am I a fluffy bunny now? Is 25 years enough for people? Obviously, that was on and off, but you know what I mean? Anyway, this is turning into a rant, but I feel like I'm not alone in this. Come for the spicy. And then the final prompt is altar. As in not all to alter, but alter. But it could be taken in a different way, right? Because alter, ER, to alter states of consciousness, to do certain types of magic, like entheogens, that's a whole other conversation. But altar, AR, as in a place where you go, you sit, you do your magic, you do your daily offerings, you know, what have you. I have an altar over here. It is a hostess trolley. I've used it for years. It's got a very, very stripped back, simple layout, and part of the reason is because it's quite small. I don't have a lot of space to put stuff on it. The second being, I found that I get very stressed with a lot of visual clutter, and I like to keep it really, really simple. And reading Aidan Wachter's work and listening to Aidan Wachter talk about his setup really felt like finally I had permission. Obviously I could always have done that, but it really made me realize there are people out there, other people out there, who feel the same and strip it right back. And yeah, it's literally got my cauldron, my Tibetan singing bowl, and then it has 3 things for offerings. It's got a candle, my incense burner, and a little thing for water. And then I've got like my little moon phase cards that I made years ago, so I can keep track of the moon. I've got a moon app on my phone as well, but it's like a daily visual reminder. And then there's a little space in the front where I can put 3 card layouts, 3 to 5 card layouts, whenever I'm doing them. I've currently got a 3 card layout there, and that is it. And that is also where I go to do my spell work. I can put novenas or novenas on there. I can, you know, anything that I'm working on I can do on there. And if it doesn't fit on there, I sit in front. I keep looking over because that's where it is, but I sit on the floor because it's low down. I sit on my yoga bolster, and if I need to, I will just work on the floor in front of me as well, and I use that as a space. Use what you have, right? You just make do. So yeah, altar. I don't feel like I need to have an elaborate altar. I don't necessarily really change it up for the sabbats anymore, because oftentimes I'd either forget, or I'd forget to change it up, or like stuff would get dust. Like I just yeah, I keep it simple. Will that change? Maybe it can change. Would I like a larger altar? Yes, I would. Ideally, I would have a whole room for all my tarot decks and my altar, and to have space to have a shrine or two, and a reading table, and all sorts of stuff. And I'd just have all my yoga stuff in there, and I'd just do all my like meditation and my yoga and my breath work and my divination and my spell work, everything. I'd have all my apothecary shelves. It would just, that's the dream, right? But ultimately I witch in different parts of the house. I witch at my altar, I witch at this desk. If I'm doing a large tarot spread, I'm either doing it on my bed, if I've been honest, on my bed, or on my desk, or my kitchen table, right? If I'm doing wildcrafting and herbal remedies or herbal magic or things like that, I'm in my kitchen. I'm a kitchen witch. I'm baking intention, I'm cooking intention, I'm stirring intention into what I'm making. So the kitchen is a magical space. My wooden spoon is a magical tool. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I would love to have a dedicated witchy room, quote unquote witchy room, but to me, the whole part of my house is like a magical space. It's also a fucking tip, but you know, two squirrel brained people and one with chronic illnesses trying to keep a house in order is really, really tricky. It's one of the things that I would like to tackle next year if I have the fucking spoons and the brain space to do it. Anyway, this went on to a whole thing. I don't even know what am I doing. I don't know. I think I just need a glass of water because my mouth is as dry as the fucking Sahara right now. And I'm quite hungry. I had breakfast, frustuka, like what, 4.5 hours ago. I got up really early this morning because I went to bed early because I'm rock and roll for life. So yeah, that's the final one. It's done, it's dusted, it's been fun. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to carry on watching. I won't be able to watch all of the responses this month. There's just not going to be enough time. But I will continue to watch them over time because they'll be there, hopefully. But yeah, thank you again so much to Brittany of the Sunshine State Witch for setting this really, really fun challenge, and for bringing a bunch of us into connection, into each other's spheres. It's been really, really cool. So thank you so much for watching and listening to, oh my god, the ramblings. I really appreciate you taking your valuable time on this planet to watch me, listen to me blether on. So yeah, you take care of yourself, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Ciao.